all about how do we buy businesses. We have an amazing guest here tonight, Mr. Curtis Witt, who is going to come and talk with us about it. Don't forget to put your city and state in the chat. Let us know where you are coming from. We're going to get started in a few minutes. We are live streaming all over the place, but y'all know it takes me a couple of minutes to get this thing set up here. So just give us a second, please.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Curtis.
And Curtis, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, ladies. How are you this evening?
Doing wonderful this evening.
Excellent.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week. Hope you guys had a wonderful day.
Hello, Robin.
Okay. I'm sorry if you all said anything to me, I couldn't hear you. But hope you're well. Hope you're well. Yep. Everybody, don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. We get started. Good. I got everything up and running here on my end.
Wonderful.
Okay, so we have in the house tonight, we've got Jacksonville, Florida. We've got the Bronx, Dallas, Georgia. There's Dallas, Georgia? I didn't know that. Okay. Hey, Stephanie. Houston, Texas. We've got Tacoma, Washington, Rancho Cucamonga, California. Hey, Robin. Good to see you, my dear. We've got Chi-Town in the house, San Leandro, California, Austin, Texas, Austell, Georgia, Kansas City, Missouri. Everybody, don't forget to put your city and state in the chat. We've got DC in the house. I see on YouTube, we've got Minneapolis in the house. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to share the stream. And also, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. To everybody in Facebook. Hello, everyone. Hello this evening. Don't forget to put your city and state in the chat. We've got Woodbridge, Virginia. We've got South Bend, Indiana. Saying hello to everybody. Welcome to the 10K Project. We've got Beulah here from Parksville, Montgomery, Tennessee. So sorry about that. We've got Las Vegas in the house. How did Las Vegas do this summer? Did you all have like a crazy wild summer being back from all the, I guess you could say it now, COVID?
They can't tell you because what happens in
Vegas stays in Vegas, right? Did she freeze, Curtis, or is that me? I think she froze. Edna's saying, yes, it is still crazy. We've got Buffalo in the house. Hello, everybody. Okay, we got Philly in YouTube as well. So y'all know tonight's topic is one of my favorite topics. So we're going to get into the topic of the night. But if you are new here, you're like, what is this 10K Project thing? And who are these strange people? Then I'd like to welcome you to the 10K Project. I am Cherie. I'm co-founder of the organization. We are the largest community of Black investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. And the concept is if 10,000 of us, for example, just put in $100 each and we decided to fund a business, that is $1 million. We don't have to go to the banks and beg for money. We don't have to go to venture capitalists, angel investors, get the door slammed in our face. No, we can start making economic change from the ground up. which means we can not only fund our own businesses, but we can profit from our own innovation. We can create jobs that are needed in the community, and we can work together to build Black wealth. So that is the 10K project. Membership, we are a members group. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we get together and do something we call a bet on Black pitch. And as much as I explained it to people, the person who said it the best is your Black Shark Tank meets Powernomics. And I said, yes. So I'm starting to use that now because it seems to be working. People are resonating with that. So yes, so on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time, Tawana leads our Bet on Black pitch, where she invites an entrepreneur of the week to come and to present his or her investment opportunity to the community. These investments are through the Securities and Exchange Commission and FINRA. It is through something called Regulation CF, and the CF stands for crowdfunding. So we get to invest in the stock market like the rich do, or like the sharks do. They buy into these businesses when they are super young, and they take the ride with those businesses. So imagine if you had invested in Facebook, Airbnb, or Uber when they were startups, where you would be today. We cannot guarantee results, but if you believe in the Black entrepreneur like I do, you know that if you build a portfolio, that, we are hoping that some of those companies are going to do well. So that is how this works with regards to the 10K project. Again, if you want to learn more, the10kproject.com. I'm going to bring up Tawana now to introduce herself and make any announcements she has and tell us about the Bet on Black pitch for tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tawana Rivers. I am another co-founder of the 10K Project. And Cherie covered pretty much everything regarding what we offer, what we're about, what we stand for. The Bet on Black pitches, they started out kind of being this thing we did kind of extra, and they've turned into be the thing we do. So it's funny how that works out. Tomorrow's founder is a young gentleman who came up with a solution to a problem that he experienced personally being an international student. So I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to stick the pen right there. I'm always intrigued by people, especially young people, right? I'm always intrigued on how young people take a problem, figure out a solution, and just forge forward. And this gentleman we're going to meet tomorrow has done just that, solving a problem that he himself experienced. And so, when all of our founders come out, we want to rally around them. We want to support them, lift them up. And then if you decide individually as an investor to invest in their project, that is perfectly on you. Cherie and I don't endorse any of the companies that come on. We simply provide the stage upon which they woo you, right? That's our job. We give you access and awareness to these startups that you would never have known about. But making the investment is up to you. We are not a fund. We don't do groupthink. We require you to do your own due diligence with all of these companies that we present. But I will tell you, we have been wowed, and some of the problems that these innovators are solving are amazing. To know what people are thinking of, and that they're building things and programming things and just everything, providing services that we need. Some that we've all said, I wish we had this. And well, we don't have to wish any longer. We got it, right? Or I wish we did this. Well, you don't have to wish any longer. And so that's what we're bringing. We're bringing the innovation just front and center to you. And
can I say,
absolutely.
Not only do we wish we had it, but we wish we could profit from it as well. Mm-hmm. And I always like to bring up Clubhouse because I saw some of the concern that the community had that we were the ones that went there in mass and turned it into $1 billion valuation. And there were none of us that get to profit from it, to the point that it was in the LA Times. I think it was the LA Times did a huge article on that. And now we not only get to say, I wish we had that, we get these entrepreneurs that are creating it. We get to be on the teams that help build it and make it go, international. And we as small investors get to also be on the back end and finally profit from it.
Yeah.
So I just
And we
wanted to
get,
say
and
that as
using
well.
using Clubhouse as an example, we get to show you we have thought of that, right? Because in the Clubhouse scenario, there is a company, Needle, that was around, right? Before Clubhouse made its big bang this year, Needle was around. Allende, the founder, came and talked to us. He's raising right now an equity crowdfunding round, but we existed, right? So we didn't know we existed because we didn't have a place to highlight Allende, right? So we couldn't share him with you because we didn't exist at the time. And that's the problem, is we don't have enough places where we're highlighting and showing ourselves off, right? We're busy working. Founders are busy tiring over their dream, but no one's highlighting. No one's showing you the struggle in the beginning because they're so busy trying to get the funding from the banks that they need. And so we're trying to change that for them. And so if you're not already a member, please go to the10kproject.com. Look through our information, look at our testimonials more than anything else, and consider, joining us and being part of this community, because it is just that we're building. We're building community of entrepreneurs and investors, and together we are going to grow generational wealth for our families.
And you were also going to mention probably Freeman Capital. I know I diverted you.
Yes. So our membership, we've got two membership tiers. So we talked about membership. We've got two tiers. One tier is the gold package, and that gives you access to all of our webinars, both current and past, right? So if you join today, you get all of the webinar, the whole library of knowledge that we have. And you also get access to the Bet on Black pitches. And if you join our platinum package, you get all of those things in addition to 6 months, I said it right, of financial planning by a licensed financial planner. We've partnered with Freeman Capital, a Black-owned financial planning company, and they have been so gracious to give us this service that we add into our package for just $347. If you're already a member, then for you, it would only be $247 because we give you that credit of that $100 you've already paid. But 6 months of financial planning, it's unheard of. We've talked to several of our members who had sourced out some financial planning services for themselves. And one said that for what she's getting with Freeman Capital, a previous company told her it would be $4,000. And so we think that the value is well worth it. We're working on getting some testimonials now from the members who have purchased that package and they're going through the Freeman Capital program now. So we hope to have that within the next month or so, because they're, it's a 6-month program, right? So we have to give them time to get through a good portion of it to be able to give us good feedback for it. But please consider, I think that what we're doing here is a great thing, and exposing or providing exposure to the founders and the startup businesses that are Black owned and operated is something that we are very proud of. I see Robin in the chat said she invested in Needle. So that's wonderful. And hopefully, Robin, you saw him here when he came here, because we've actually had Allende a couple of times walking us through how to use the platform, as well as talking about his investment opportunities. So those are the kind of businesses we're bringing you here. We don't get to use the excuse any longer that we didn't know, because now we know there's a place where you can come and learn about these startup companies and invest in them.
Yeah. Okay, so Robert is saying didn't invest, but I have Needle installed in my phone.
Good.
I think it's still open.
It is.
Robert.
The campaign is still open. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hopefully you are a member of the 10K Project, and every Monday and Thursday we send out the list of open campaigns in our weekly newsletter. So definitely check that out and do your own research. We do not tell people what to invest in, what to add to their portfolio, but if you determine that it is something that you want to do, then absolutely, I'm sure that Allende would welcome you as an investor. Beulah also asked a question before we go to Curtis. I just want to answer this. Asked, does Acorn belong in this effort? So that's a great question. Acorn is considered, I'm going to call it retail investing, meaning that you are buying the stock as it's on the stock market. What we do is we do pre-IPO or pre-stock market investing. This is how the rich invest. So right now, for example, let's take a Facebook as, you know, because it's a publicly held company. There were people who invested in Facebook when Mark Zuckerberg had thought in his brain, sitting on Harvard's campus or building it out before it ever got onto the stock market. And that is how the rich get richer in this country. I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now, but we do have sessions where I kind of walk you through, you know, this whole process where they're getting thousands of percent on their money for investing in companies like this when they get started. So no, Acorn is not a part of this effort. However, I do suggest that you know, whether you use an Acorn or Stash or any of the other apps that are out there, like I suggest you do a lot of different investing. Tawan and I are both very much for diversification. Do not put all your eggs in one basket.
And basically, just for anyone who doesn't know, all of what Acorn is, how it's unique is it allows you to buy fractional shares of those stocks that are already public. So that's the big key, is that you can, you know, you don't have to have $500 for one share of a top company. You may only have $50 and you can just buy a fraction of that one share until you build up to the one share.
Right.
Those apps are helpful from that standpoint.
Okay, so everybody, first of all, in YouTube, thank you so much for being here. We've got quite a few people in YouTube. Please hit the like button for me. Please subscribe and please share the stream. Same thing with Facebook as well. All right, so y'all know that this happens to be one of my favorite topics, all about buying businesses. And I want to give a shout out to Robin Mansell, who is one of our members who introduced us to Mr. Curtis Witt, who is here today. So why is buying businesses so powerful? And Curtis, forgive me if I'm stealing your shine here.
Please, take over.
The reason that I like us considering buying businesses and not just starting businesses is because there are a lot of businesses out there that are 10 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old that we could consider purchasing. And for example, let's say that the business does government work. Well, we being minorities can get access, for example, to certain contracts if we bought that business and it has all of that past performance, right? We had a gentleman come on from a bank that said that the banks love funding people who are buying businesses because they can already see a cash flow. And while 90% of startups fail, only 10 to 20% of companies that you buy will fail. Okay. So they like that as well. You can, Tawan has always said this, you can walk in on Monday and by Friday have a paycheck if you buy a business instead of starting one. So one of the things that I would love to see the 10K Project do is consider not just starting businesses, but buying them. One of the richest Black gentlemen in the United States owns an auto supply shop in New Jersey that the last time I checked makes $1.6 billion a year. He bought that business, okay? Over the next, I think it said decade or two, 50 to 70% of the businesses that are outright, that are, you know, functional right now are going to be for sale. I think there are going to be some great businesses out there that we can buy, we can grow, and we can leverage in order to build Black wealth. So if I haven't sold you enough on buying businesses. I don't know what else to say. I think it's a great strategic way for us to consider building Black wealth. So I want to welcome Mr. Curtis Witt here. Hello, Curtis.
Hello there, Cherie. How are you?
I
Again,
am good. I'm good. We want to welcome you to the 10K project.
thank you so very much. I'd really like to just piggyback on what you said about buying businesses. One of the
Mhm,
main things important about buying businesses, specifically from 3 to 5 years, is that you reduce the risk. Risk is very important to investors, to bankers, and everyone else. And by reducing that risk allows you just tremendous flexibility in
mhm,
who helps expand your funding, who
mhm,
helps provide inventory for you, those types of things, what type of rate you actually get. A new entrepreneur doesn't get the same rate as a business that's been in business for 7 years. And so
mhm,
it makes all the difference in the world. And if you are going to in our some of our cases where we will buy a business as a beachhead and then go buy, instead of trying to acquire the same type of business, you basically buy, if you would, shell businesses, assets, so you can like expand your reach related to cities, as an example. So you have a salon in Naples, and then you go buy an asset sale in Sarasota and Jacksonville, et cetera, such that you can expand without the outlay of capital. So
Yeah,
buying
you use the
businesses.
fancy term there, asset sales. We're gonna have you break that down for everybody. But why don't we start off at the beginning? So tell us a little bit about yourself and who you help, because you actually focus on the beauty industry, the salon industry in particular. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into helping people buy businesses and you know um, the basics.
Certainly. So I will make this quick because this is not as important. I worked in the corporate environment for about 29 years. I saved, my job was to educate and basically reduce costs. And I did that very well. I left the corporate environment a couple of years ago and linked up with my good friend and actually a mentor, Ace Chapman. And you guys know Ace, right? Ace and I started the first private equity incubator and Sleeping Beauty Fund. We bought a couple of companies, one of which I took over as CEO, which is DMI. And then Robin Mansell and I basically started a parallel sister company that specialized in helping African American women buy businesses. We call them the elite queens, and I'm sure that some of them are on here supporting. There, we decided that one of the COVID-proof, recession-proof businesses or industries is beauty uh, and personal care, whether that's eyelashes, hair, um, piercings, tattoos. It doesn't matter to us. It's personal care, and in that space, there's a huge gross profit margin. There's a huge net profit margin, and although COVID did slow it down a little, there was still a lot of people going in through the back door to get their nails and done, etc. So it didn't take as much of a hit as some of the other industries like restaurants and things of that nature where they were shut down. And when it
Yeah.
did shut down, there was a tremendous amount of pent up energy. When opened back up, it just flooded the market. As you
Yeah, and I'm
mentioned,
sorry, one thing, our people are asking for you to speak up a little bit louder,
I
Curtis.
will.
Yes, thank
How
you.
about that? I'll lean forward a little bit. That'll help as well.
Yes, that is much better. Thank you so
Certainly.
much.
So one of the things that you mentioned that I think is a great opportunity right now is the fact that there's a quiet trifecta storm that's coming, or is here actually. It's the baby boomers exiting. It's COVID um, slowed everything down and just made people tired. And it's the fact that there's easy money now to be had. And those three things allow for us to go in and really create some real wealth as it relates to accumulating small business portfolio companies. So that's kind of what we do, where we are. Let's kind of get into some of the other things where you guys had maybe some questions in
Yeah.
regards to the business
So
that we buy.
yeah. So because you actually talk about people being able to buy businesses with no cash,
Yeah.
so we also think that that is interesting as well. um, so but just because I do want to say, just because you are buying it with no cash doesn't mean that the person who is selling it is not receiving cash, right? so so
We
why
want
don't
their
you
money.
walk us through a little bit of that, the process of how people even get into the mindset of buying a business?
Certainly. So the first thing you have to understand is, from a zero down, it doesn't mean that there's money involved. It just means that there's none of your money. That's important. It's not my money that I'm using. I'm using someone else's money. The second thing is, in the way we structure our deals, our first investor is the owner. They're the first investor that we have, and we leverage the owner. Our second potential investor is the broker in which who we buy the business through. And then we raise more capital to the point where we don't just have zero down, we also have a capital event at the end. And many people who are on here may remember in the 80s, 90s, they used to do real estate, no money down and get paid at closing. That's what we do. Our capital event is get paid at closing. So not only are we not taking any money out of our own pocket, we're getting paid to take over that business. So, does that
Very
help?
interesting. We got to know it all. So
I'm here to tell it all. Let me tell it
yeah.
all.
Yes. Yeah. So okay. So because I'm imagining there are a lot of businesses out there, and I know ACE focuses on the micro private equity. So explain to people like what private equity is, and I think Tawana's familiar with private equity as well, and the fact that they have a sweet spot that excludes a lot of small businesses out there, which is small to them when it comes to the dollars, but for us can be a game changer, type of business. So walk people through the numbers of, first of all, explaining what private equity is and like how big of a business are they looking to buy versus the types of businesses and the range of revenues that we could buy in this micro
Okay.
purchasing state.
So so everyone has heard about private PE firms, PE funds, right? And the difference between a firm and a fund. A PE fund has a limited shelf life. You may go 10 years, 7 years, 5 years. You gather investors and you have a limited partner and a general partner, and they have agreement. And so that's a fund. A firm is a group of people or a company that just goes and builds a portfolio of companies. So BlackRock has both a firm and a fund. Now, they deal in billions of dollars. We deal in hundreds of thousands of dollars. So a micro business is defined as something that's less than $500,000. That's how we define it. Most of the time, we're dealing in business that deals with businesses that deal with less than $300,000. And if we dial that in, it's really around anywhere from 75,000 to about 210, 215,000 is the sweet spot. There are
Right.
literally hundreds of thousands of businesses in that sweet spot right there, where you can go in, you can get with the owner, the owner will take a small down payment in which you can raise that capital. They'll take, so they have a down payment, they have some form of seller financing, and then some form of equity position that they keep in the company. And that's critical because those last two pieces, if let's just say you had to put down 20% down on a $100,000 business, that's 20,000. And the owner at 60%, or they finance 60%. So that's 60,000. And then they kept another 20% of the company because they believed in the sustainability of the company. They believed in the vision that you had of where you want to take this company. And they believed in the infinite game. The infinite game, meaning they're not worried about what happens today, but they're more worried about what happens in the next 50 years with that company. And so we look to help structure those types of deals where it's micro, it allows everyone in the community, as well as the owner, as well as the buyer, as well as the employees to win in that scenario. The owner really wins because they get an opportunity to shelter some cash, and they get an annuity, if you would, an annuity residual that will go on in perpetuity until the business is either sold or folded.
Okay, so you said $500,000. I just want to clarify one thing, Tawana. You said $500,000, but when Ace was here, he told us 5 million and under is the sweet spot. Is that not, or is it just, yeah, go ahead.
So for in the micro world, I'm saying the micro small business. So
Okay.
in DMI, we will deal with up to 5 million because the SBA deals with up to 5 million.
Mm-hmm.
But for our sweet spot, where we're going, what we're trying to impact in terms of getting people their feet wet as initial entrepreneurs.
I got it.
And more,
yeah.
Not just entrepreneurs, because that's one thing. We liken this to, if I bought 1,000 shares of Walmart, I wouldn't go to my local Maricopa, ask for a smock and put it on. I'm going to wait for my dividends. So we're building and we're helping people build portfolios of businesses as opposed to an in-buy business. Because I mean, it's not our position to help people buy a job. It's our position to help people gain wealth.
Yeah, I like that. Go ahead, Tawana.
So, I want to take it even a little further to the beginning, right?
Certainly.
I wake up tomorrow, I decide enough is enough. I want to buy a business. I'm going to stop thinking about it. I'm going to do it, right? Where do I start? How do I decide what industry? Is that something I already need to know? Are there checklists I need to meet the qualifications for before I have this epiphany? Like how does the individual actually enter into the space?
Tawana, you wake up tomorrow morning, you say, I want to own a business, but I don't know what business I want to own. So there's two schools of thought. One is you follow your passion, have a passion for art, and you may want to buy one of those art, wine, and sip, places, those types of things. We are industry agnostic. We don't care. We're business people. And what's most important to us is the balance sheet and the profit and loss statement. It's not per se, we love business. We don't per se or love Baskin Robbins ice cream, or, it doesn't. So for us, we are business agnostic. We can buy any business as long as it's within the parameters that we like to buy. So I'll directly answer your question by saying, if you have a passion, I would go there. But if you decide, hey, I'm just going to look at where the best opportunity is, then you can start with some listing brokers and just, choose an industry. You can literally dart it. Just close your eyes and throw a dart and boom, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, or open up, I used to tell people, open up the phone book. There's no phone book. I don't think so, but open it up and point there and go, that's the company I'm going to buy.
You just dated yourself, Curtis, by referencing a phone book.
Thanks. That's classic. That is classic.
Yeah, I will make a suggestion to people as well, just because, as many of you know, I'm a business plan writer. So I have so many people that come to me that want to start businesses. And the famous one is, I want to start a restaurant. And I say, okay, are you ready to work 7 days a week for the next 10 years with no breaks? And the person invariably says no, especially if they've never worked in the restaurant industry. So I would ask you to start off with, what kind of life do I want to have? And what kind of
Yeah.
hours do I want to have? And for how long can I run the marathon? Um,
Yeah,
there
that's a
is,
good
in
start.
my opinion, no business that you can get into where you are completely hands off, unless you are like a super minority owner in the business, and you're doing it kind of like the 10K project, where someone says, I want to buy this business, I'm going to run it and operate it, and you're less than 1% owner in it, and you're passive. And that's, in my opinion. Curtis can let me know. Robin is saying, don't do it. I owned a restaurant for 8 years. Yeah, look, I try to tell people about these restaurants because they think it's easy. It is one of the hardest businesses to make it in.
So I'm going to make one tweak to what you said, because this is very interesting. You, you can, here's how we're buying businesses. We will go in and buy a micro business. And if you look at it from a 21st century leverage buyout, we will leverage it. We will then partner with someone in the business, because that's very important, because I don't want to run that business. I don't know how to run the business. I know financials. I don't know how to run a particular business. So partner with an operator that's already there. Now, here's the interesting about that. There's always another two-person that thinks that they can run that business much better than the owner, and all they need is a chance. So guess what we do? We give them a chance. I give you 20 to 30% of my business. All you have to do is open, close, do payroll, and follow the system that we are putting in place. That way I can go there and buy another business, and I don't have to worry about the one in Naples. So the whole idea is, a stake in the business is in the vision. Let me say it again. A stake in the business, equity in the vision. When I give someone a stake in that business, they have taken equity in my overall vision of what I'm trying to do, which is, I am not trying to be in that position right there. I'm trying to own a portfolio of businesses in which we can then hopefully roll up and go public.
I love it. We have a couple of questions here. The first is from Chris. Is there a group of businesses that are easy to purchase using this method, like a barber or a beauty salon, just for example? So this is right up your alley, Curtis.
This is our alley. We will absolutely. This has to stay out of the SEC language, but we will absolutely dominate this industry, because we are aggregating small mom pop type of personal care industries, or personal care businesses. And yes, I think the line could go buy a shop today for $50,000, and you can buy it with literally no money out of your own pocket. You buy a hair salon for less than $150,000. Depending on where you are in the United States, they have cash flow. They allow you to, they have cash flow even when you give the person, a portion of your company. They have cash flow even when you increase their, that person's split, 60-40, 70-30. These things have cash flow, and that's what you're looking for. And yes, beauty salons, anything in the personal care industry. I like eyelashes. I like licensed therapy masseuse. I like the skincare business. Skincare business is $1 trillion business. I absolutely love that. I love that business. Anything in that realm, and you could get them for pennies on the dollar. And if you are a gregarious person. I'm an introvert. So if you're gregarious and you're out there, you could buy these. I talked about asset sales. So let me tell you what asset sale. It basically says you're just buying the equipment and the location. And it sometimes, sometimes it comes with people, but for the most part, you're just buying the shell of the company. And so it's very much you're not buying a good person, you're just buying the FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And so that's what an asset sale is. Some of you can go to that asset sale and really work it to the point where you don't have to be a stylist, but you can work with the stylist to really bring that business back to life, add to that business, add more value to the business.
Perfect. So
Thanks
Ron is in Facebook saying Curtis is dope. He is applying engineering formulas to the acquisition space. So thank you so much, Ron. Everybody in YouTube, please like the video, please share it, and please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow our numbers here. We have another.
Let me just say that Ron, I worked the 20 some odd years I worked with the company, and 70% of that was with engineering. So I am disciplined engineering, and my two favorite, engineering and of course accounting folks, the CFOs of each of the division.
Perfect. And you and I had spoken about that when we originally talked. So,
Right.
I love it when people come from corporate and enter the entrepreneurial world and take what they were doing in corporate and be able to infuse it into, building wealth for families individually and then the community, et cetera. So I think that that's so important for us to do. Felicia is saying here, where do you find listing brokers?
Yeah, that's the same question Greg has. It's pretty much, what's the specific site you can go to for buying businesses?
Okay. So interesting enough. So let me give you two sites. Biz Buy Sell, and Net, LOOP net, net.com, LoopNet, Biz Buy Sell and LoopNet. You can also go to, quite honestly, something that everybody knows, Craigslist. There's businesses for sale on Craigslist.
Interesting.
Some of the better businesses are for sale. Now, they don't all meet our criteria because you find that small businesses don't keep very good books. And for us, we need very good books. But there are businesses for sale that you can pick up for very cheap on Craigslist. So three sources. On Biz Buy Sell and LoopNet, you will find that most of the businesses are probably 80% of the businesses are listed by a broker. And so instead of looking for the broker, you get the business and the broker comes with it. Literally. Okay. And so part of our strategy, we teach this FBI, find it, buy it, and improve it really quickly. And so in the find it, we just work with brokers, just consistently work with brokers to where send out a nice little video so they know how we operate, but they know we send a 2-minute video to them so they clearly know how we buy, we want to structure, so they don't bring us anything that they know that we're not going to buy.
I have another question before we get to Chris's next question in the Q&A, because I happen to have a very good friend who is a broker. And one of the things that established brokers do is they ask you, do you have the money to pay for a business before they try to bring deals to you? They try to vet you very much. How do you, intensely, I should say, how do you get beyond that if you are saying you're not bringing any money to the purchase?
Remember, so no broker worth their weight is going to say, "Oh, you're not bringing any money? That means what?" And they start thinking, wait, that means I don't get paid if you're not bringing zero money. Don't get paid. So you better be careful when you say zero money. We're not spending any of our money, but we are raising capital through friends, family, and it doesn't take. That's the beauty of this micro space. It doesn't take a lot. You know, 20, 40, $50,000 down, and then so it doesn't take a lot of money. And we show like this last group of queens, elite queens, showed them how to raise the money uh, through the process of cultivating friendships, through the process of cultivating investors, and making sure that we're within the guidelines, the SEC guidelines for how we can do that. We're not, as you talked about, FINRA, and we're not doing a crowdfunding. So we make sure we're within the guidelines and legal, but we raise the capital. And so how basically do it. And the brokers, now we've gotten a reputation, and we work with certain brokers around the country who can then co-broker around. And so we work with them to the point where we don't have to worry about that any longer. If I was starting up, I would cultivate it to the point where I would have a list of people who have committed to the investment, basically.
Right.
I'm leveraging everything. This is all about leverage. I'm leveraging credit. I'm leveraging other people's money. I'm leveraging other people's reputation. I'm leveraging their relationships, etc. So if I don't have anything, I don't know anybody, don't have any money, don't have all the things that's supposed to be part of the checklist, I go and find those people. I leverage that, and that's part of the whole notion of innovation. You guys wrote a best-selling book about innovation, and the number one question is, what problem are you solving? What problem are you solving, and how can you do it? How can you do it within the constraints that you have? So I have no money, I have no time, I have no this, I have that. I used to do this innovation exercise where we said, we're going to eat without money. And we would go around the room and we'd say, how can you eat without money? How can you eat without money? And, and people come up with some of the most innovative ways. Once you got beyond, I'll go to the church bank and I'll go beg for food. People come up with all sorts of ways to eat without money. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Money is the constraint. How do I do this without constraint? If you have everything, you don't need innovation. Innovation needs a constraint in order to overcome. That's what makes it innovative, So from that standpoint, I think that going back to the question, you have the ability to raise the capital if you come at it from an innovative perspective. How do I do this without that?
I love that. I think that is a great problem solving, type of exercise anyway. Yeah, I love that. Because sometimes we are quick to throw money at stuff where we may not necessarily need to. So Chris has another great question in here. I am seeing a trend of barbers and hairstylists who are renting one-room suites now. Not going against what you're saying, but can you use your method in those situations as well?
Oh, absolutely. You buy what is called a salon suite. We are actively looking for salon suites where you buy them, and the stylist or the barber, or even people who do nails and eyelashes, tattoos, they rent out little suites to you. Those are probably the most lucrative of them, and we are actively seeking those. So yeah, it's not in conflict at all. In fact, it is the ultimate, where you don't have to worry about buying 5 places, but you bought 17 mini places in which you are renting out, which is just great. I mean, think of this as monopoly. All we're doing is trying to buy pieces, each and every one of these pieces. And so that's a great question. I love salon suites. I tried to buy 2 in Phoenix just recently over the last couple of months. Those deals unfortunately fell through, but I still have my eyes on buying them. Absolutely. That's a
Michael has a
great.
question in the chat. He said, if you can buy a business for pennies on the dollar, what makes them valuable?
Well, you first of all, the uh, it's what you bring to the table that intricately inside of the company makes it valuable. So the second and probably just important is we're buying these undervalued. They are undervalued, and we are able to, for example, when we're buying salons, there's normally 2 or 3 chairs open. We partner with. Remember, I talked about the whole notion of uh, equity, and stake is equity in the vision. We partner with the lady who is responsible. Her name is Monique, who's responsible for the tattoo artist for Black Ink. She is the only person in the United States who specifically, I say specifically, only deals as a staffing agency for the cosmetic industry. So anything that has to do with cosmetology, she will staff. That gives us a tremendous advantage. So you got to look at it from the standpoint of, you're right. What if I can buy it for $1? Why would it be worth it? You're looking at, we buy what is, and we invest in the potential. We buy what is. So if your cash flow is $1,000, I'm going to buy based the valuation on $1,000. But I also invest in potential, because I see you have 5 booths open. And I know I have Monique over here who works her magic. She is magical. Um, so she's part of the team. I have a credit guy who's magical, who will go in and build the credit of the company, and such that we can extract the credit, and make money off that credit. So I have a e-commerce person who looks at the company before we ever even buy it, start looking at what e-commerce plays we can use and how much that would be worth. We do all of that before we even buy it, such that we know we're going to make first 90 days, basically. And so all of that is part of our due diligence. So what makes it valuable? Our analysis of the company. So we go in, we quickly assess what's going on, we quickly increase the revenue, quickly decrease the cost of goods sold, and the expenses for what we term as exponential growth. And that's what makes it valuable.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was just
Curtis,
going to say,
go ahead. Go ahead, Sheree.
So I was just going to say that a lot of the businesses that are out there or that are for sale, let's say they've been running that business for 15 years. They stopped investing in it 8 years ago. They stopped, thinking about anything new 8 years ago. They're probably not running Google ads. They may not even have, like, how you say, beauty salon near me. They may not even
Yeah,
be in Google listed. It's called Google Places, right?
right.
They may not be doing social media at all. So a lot of people will come in and take their existing cash flow and just say, we're going to add on, new methods of marketing in order to build community from different places. I
That's absolutely.
My poor stylist, like, I love her, but I've been begging her to set up online booking. I'm tired of texting her back and forth 80 times to get like an appointment, right? I'm like, please set up. I would do it myself for her, but then she'd ask me for other stuff. I love you, Charlotte, if you're watching, but I'm like, like, can we just add some of the conveniences that I can get from the other salons out here? So even, with a lot of these businesses, it is, when you talk about due diligence, it is looking at what are the simple things that they aren't doing that would, make the process easier and more efficient for new people to come in, and returning clients or customers to continuously come as well. So,
Can I give you a quick example, just really
yeah,
quick example?
sure.
So we're looking at buying a barber shop in Washington, D.C. It's in the College Park, Maryland area. And in that, we decided to look at it from the standpoint of it's only doing about $1,500 of cash flow, that once we all is said and done and we financed everything, it's only doing $1,500 left over. We said, can we do the increase that to $5,000 like within the first 60 days? And so one of the strategies that we're using is men obviously are coming in there. The fast growing segment is men's grooming now. I mean, because it's men want to live well, right? And so we said, well, what products can we offer? And not only what products can we offer because we have a relationship with those vendors, but what can we offer on something free like Google Marketplace, where you could just go and list your products locally, right? That's free, totally free for everybody. And it's going to come up because when you put in that product, Google is going to have Google Shop, and so you get an opportunity to increase the value of you get an opportunity to increase your cash flow and the value of your company by simple things. And so we look at how you evaluate all of those things in order to raise the income of the company. Because the more you have, we pay for cash flow. I mean, we go in and people say, well, I put $100,000 in this and I put $500,000 in the deal down. And I always tell the broker that has nothing to do with me. That's not my problem. If they overspent, I will take a dump with cash flow versus a Taj Mahal with none. So from that perspective, they overspent, it's not my issue. We're disciplined. We know how we're going to buy. We know how we're going to sell. Because we have a few minutes, let me talk quickly. I'm going to pivot and talk about, because you promised the people in your pitch that it was a double buy with zero, sell with zero. Remember? So I want to make sure that you guys get that. How do you sell with zero? The same way you buy with zero, but you do it backwards. So I buy with no money down, and I have somebody, an operator already in the place that owns a portion of the company already. I just sell that person the rest of the company. But instead of taking cash, I take a note from them and I take the balance. Now, if I do a UCC against the equipment and everything, against the business, I have a note in which I can go borrow 70 to 90% on, because I can go to any factory company because I have a note that says this person owes me $80,000 and is secured by the business. Now I can go borrow on that if I needed cash. And so that's how you can buy for nothing, sell for nothing, literally, and help the community continue to have jobs and going forward.
That's awesome. So Curtis, so now I wake up, right, 2 days from now, and I want to kind of get my feet wet, right? So I want to be one of those investors that you're raising capital from. How does that work? How do I get into that lane? Because that's more my speed. How do I get into that lane?
And wrap it into the 10K project, please.
So we are not Reg CFs, want to be clear. So we can raise capital, but you have to do it very specifically from what terms, friends and family. So in the 10K project, you have 100,000 or 10,000 or 5,000 friends, and we're friends of yours. So legally, we can raise through that, but you really it has to be friends and family. So we raise capital through our people in DMI or family, Trade All Markets with Robin Mansell. We raise capital through extensions of people, etc. And so through that process, we basically have a weekly or monthly, depending on how many companies we have a monthly capital raise where we'll invite people that we know, investors, to come and to one of our pitches. And they have the opportunity to take what we call slots. A slot could be $5,000, $10,000, up to $15,000. We don't let anybody have more than a $15,000 slot because we want as many investors as we possibly can. What do we give those investors? Some astronomical rate. We pay anywhere from 22 to 35% on investor money. It is a 1-year convertible note that can basically be converted into equity based on the value. Now, I will say the value, we are trying as fast as we possibly can increase the value of that company, double and triple the value of that company, such that the equity position that that person would convert to would be diluted. I mean, that's just because the person that actually owns that, the queen, that owns that, she owns 60 or 70% of the company. We want to make sure that she continues to own at least 50 to 60% of that company. So by increasing value from 100,000 to 300,000 through that first year, the investors who are going to convert their at the first year, they are able to convert into equity at a diluted rate than what they gave it to us for. So if you want to invest, you would come to one of our, if we would, pitch fest, and we would show you what we are going to do. We lay out what is our plan for the first 30 days, what's the market potential here, what's the local market potential, what's the plan, how we're going to build the credit, how we're going to operate, who's going to operate, et cetera, et cetera. And so we just lay it out just like you would see in a crowdfunding pitch, but it's for investors, small private investors.
Wonderful. So how do we get on that mailing list?
So if you contact Robin, let's see, I tell you what, there is a Facebook group that I'd like everyone to join, and it's TAM to Sell, TAM to Sell, and there you will we will send you a couple of ebooks of that nature, and from there you'll be on the mailing list and part of our process in our circle.
Can you put that Facebook group in the, oh, it looks like Robin just did. Perfect.
Thanks.
TAM Built to Sell. Okay.
The other thing I would say is for those who are interested in buying businesses, we are having a nice little mastermind upcoming this weekend. So if you're interested, you can go Built to Sell, and we'll get you information about that. So you're either, like you talked about, Tawana, you're either investing in business, and our last round was 25% on the money. So we bought 3 businesses last month. We are investors 25% on the money. It's interest only, and then at the end of the year, in the 13th month or the 13th month, you can convert that or get your money back. But it's basically 25% on your money, which is unheard of. I mean, it's a situation where we're offering very, very little risk, comparatively speaking, to the reward. I mean, you get that in the crypto market, you can turn over the next morning and it'll be all gone, or a large portion of it can be gone. So we are being very competitive related to higher rates, and at the same time, we're very low risk because it's backed by business. It already is cash flowing. That's the key. It's not a startup idea. It's a business that's cash flowing.
Wow. Very
Well,
good.
everybody, both Tawana and I are huge fans of buying businesses. And
Absolutely.
Curtis, want to thank you and Robin as well for coming to the 10K project. Definitely want to expand some of the things that we're thinking of, because I think, and we talked about this on the phone, there are ways for us to take this model and be able to expand it and have us build portfolios of companies. I'm a big fan of super teams, as you know, and I'm a big fan of us being very strategic and taking your model and expanding it to government contractors and construction companies and things like that, that we bump up against issues because we don't have the capital and we don't have the people to move to the next level. Imagine if we have the businesses with past performance and the capital and the team members in order to triple revenues. I think that, this is something we can definitely do as a community. So I'm gonna be
Yeah.
working very, very vigorously on this.
Yeah, this is, thank you, Curtis, so much. Thank you, Robin, for sharing this contact with us, because this is the kind of education we provide within the 10K project, right? So we're not just telling you that these things exist. We're bringing the people who know how to do the things, right? And they're going to give you the blueprint. This is about action, right? Again, I said earlier, there's no more excuses. Now we are being exposed to the information. Generational wealth is not this dream anymore. It is possible. It is attainable. And we're giving you the blueprints. There are a lot of different ways to get there also, right? We used to think there was one magic way to get there, inheritance. And we know now that there are other ways to get there. And we're just trying to show you what those other ways are. So we've given you several resources this evening. If you're a member, this session will be in the Knowledge Center. If you're not a member, consider joining us, right? We've given you resources. Curtis has given us resources. He gave you sites to go to. We have his Facebook group. Robin put his email in the chat for us. There are no more excuses. If we want to build wealth, we just need to do it.
Just do it. Absolutely.
Curtis, I'll give you the last word for the evening.
So last word would just be, I'll piggyback on what Tawana said and just say generational wealth can start in 2 days. And I say 2 days only because you probably need a breather and then you start the next day. So generational wealth can start immediately. And we, like others, can help in the process. We'd love to help in that process.
Love it. Thank you so much.
I just joined
everybody.
the Facebook group, but don't sleep on it. I just joined. Y'all playing.
Yes, and Robin is saying, I agree, just do it, join the 10K project first. Thank you so much, Robin. This is what it's all about. It's all of us working together for a common cause. So thank you everyone for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Bet on Black Pitch.
On Black Pitch.
Take care, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much, Curtis.